romantic comedy, you know they're going to get together. Oh, hello. I'm Melissa D'Agostino, the co-founder of Highball TV and The Office's resident Christmas elf. That's right, I love everything about Christmas. I love the lights, I love the music, and I love the movies. I'm going to take you through a few categories of Christmas movies, and there's a lot of overlaps. It's a holiday punch of movies. Spoiler alert. Yeah, I'm sorry about spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, scroll on. Let's start with dysfunctional family tales, because sometimes you want to watch a family whose dysfunction is slightly different than your family's dysfunction over the holidays, and that's certainly true for me. My favorite holiday movie about family dysfunction is The Family Stone, a very popular choice. Bonkers plot. Family is together, a sister ends up with the fiance of the other sister, who ends up with the brother of the fiance. It's a lot, but it's very fun, great cast, beautiful setting, just a perfect little family dysfunction movie. There's a movie called Love the Coopers, has a terrible rating on Rotten Tomatoes, so if you're like, I will not watch something that's not fresh, don't watch this movie. But it's delightful in many ways. Narrated by Steve Martin, playing a dog, spoiler alert. Great cast again, great soundtrack, another bonkers plot, but a young Timothy Chalamet making out for the first time. So if that's your thing, Love the Coopers. A film I love that's about an unconventional family at the holidays is called Tokyo Godfathers. It's an animated film from Japan about these three unhoused people who form a makeshift family, really, and find a baby on the streets of Tokyo during the holidays. It's beautifully animated, very funny, very poignant. Highly recommend. Action, movies, hijinks, the holidays. Do you love wacky movies with a lot of action in them? Me too. Obviously, Home Alone is on my list here, and Home Alone 2. Those are the only two Home Alones I will recognize. I apologize to the other movies, but 1 and 2 are great. I love the first Home Alone film. It's so well executed. Macaulay Culkin is amazing in it. Every single element of that house is red or green, pretty much. Like, they went out of their way to make sure it was as Christmassy as possible. Just 10 out of 10 for Home Alone 1 and 9.5 out of 10 for Home Alone 2. We take away half a point for Donald Trump. Something that is both about dysfunctional families and about action and hijinks is Four Christmases. This is actually a really delightful movie with Reese Witherspoon and Vince Vaughn, where they've been lying to their families for years about where they are for Christmas, and then their families find out and they have to go to all 4 of their families for one Christmas. And it's really entertaining and actually pretty heartfelt underneath it. And you see Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau together, which, if you're a Swingers fan, reunion.
Baby, you are so money and you don't even know it.
I'm in the Die Hard is a Christmas movie camp. I think it's absolutely a Christmas movie, and I love Die Hard. I think, again, it's such a perfect film in the way it's structured. Bruce Willis at peak Bruce Willisness, am I right? Hans Gruber, formidable villain. Alan Rickman does such a great job. Great cast, Nakatomi Plaza, love it all. Just a really thrilling action movie that also just happens to be around Christmas. Do you love angels? Do you love visitations? Do you love ghosts? I think it would be truly terrifying if it happened in real life, but I love it in a movie. My favorite holiday movies that have that genre are Scrooged, for sure, with Bill Murray, and one of my faves, Wendy Malick. A great reimagining of A Christmas Carol set in, the debauchery of 80s television production. Wonderful performances, really fun. I'm also a fan of Family Man with Nicolas Cage and the exploration of the road not taken. Holiday theme, a man really coming to terms with his choices and contemplating what could have been and what choice he could make now. And it's great. Great cast. Nicolas Cage, good in this one, because Nicolas Cage is 50-50. Is he incredible, or is it the craziest thing you've ever seen? And this, I would say, is like middle of the road Cage. I love It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life was not a movie that I watched growing up as a kid. It's a movie that came to me later as an adult. I think the chemistry, the romantic chemistry in that movie is off the charts. I think Jimmy Stewart gives a performance that is so glorious and and wacky and strange, but also beautiful. When a movie that is a classic captures your heart as an adult, it's such a different experience, but I love it. I watch it every year and I highly recommend it. The best Christmas Carol is The Muppet Christmas Carol. I don't think there's any debating that. I mean, you can have me if you want. I probably am not going to engage, but go ahead. I especially love about The Muppet Christmas Carol that Michael Caine was like, I'm going to be in this movie full of Muppets, but I'm going to play it deadly serious. I'm going to be the most committed serious actor in the world. And it actually is exactly what that movie needs. I love a musical. If you know me, you know I love a musical. And I love a holiday musical most of all. The modern day musical that I love and found so wonderful and refreshing from last year is Spirited, which is a take on, Scrooge and Scrooged and that whole Christmas Carol story. They spin it though, and it's so fantastic. Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell, Octavia Spencer. My thing about this musical is the dance numbers are incredible. I have such a pet peeve about modern day dance numbers. I feel like they don't shoot them properly. There's too many close-ups, they make too many edits. This film honors dance in the way that Fred Astaire would have approved of MGM musicals. So it's a fun score, it's a great message, Spirited, love. A movie that has music in it isn't technically a musical maybe, is Last Christmas, that came out a few years ago. It's actually the literal interpretation of the song Last Christmas by George Michael, which is interesting, but it's quite delightful, and I think a really interesting modern Christmas movie. Michelle Yeoh, Amelia Clark, Henry Golding. It was co-written by Emma Thompson, and the interesting tidbit about this is Emma Thompson had been working on it with George Michael when he was alive, and then of course George Michael passed, and she's been trying to get it made for years. So it's also a bit of a love letter from Emma Thompson to her friend George Michael, which is quite beautiful. Meet Me in St. Louis, Louis. I love Meet Me in St. Louis. It's such a fun and heartwarming film, and also a bit of a family, not dysfunction, but a family movie, a movie about a family at the holidays. So if you're interested in a classic, I would highly recommend that. My favorite classic musical for Christmas is White Christmas. I don't think you can get better than White Christmas. I don't think you can get better than Rosemary Clooney and Danny Kaye and Vera Allen and Bing Crosby. It is iconic for a reason. It's stupendous. It is really not just one of my favorite Christmas movies, but one of my favorite movies. And if you haven't seen it, I really recommend you see it. Who doesn't need a little romance at Christmas? You know what I mean? We all do. And I love a romantic comedy. I love a holiday romantic comedy, especially. My favorite holiday romantic comedy is While You Were Sleeping. This isn't necessarily always considered a Christmas movie. This is like the Die Hard of romantic comedies, where people are like, is it, isn't it? It takes place over Christmas and the New Year. Romantic comedy, Sandra Bullock and Bill Pullman. I mean, talk about chemistry. Their chemistry is fantastic. The plot is a little bit bonkers, but just enough for a romantic comedy. It's just a really fantastic film. And it's the kind of romantic comedy I feel like we don't get a lot of these days. Just a pure romantic comedy that is both really heartwarming and has a lot of chemistry, but is also very funny. Another great holiday romantic comedy is Last Holiday with Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah finds out she only has like 3 weeks or something to live, and so she decides to leave her really dissatisfying life and follow every whim and dream and take all of these fun risks, and it is a joy to watch. Like, you're along for the ride. You want to take those risks with her and you want her to succeed, and then she and LL Cool J have some really fun chemistry, and it's great fun, a great Christmas watch. Another modern day classic, obviously, The Holiday. Nancy Meyers, Forever and Always. Love a Nancy Meyers movie. This one sees these two very unlikely couples emerge. It's peak Jude Law. Like, it's everything you want out of Jude Law and a little bit more. Kate Winslet, Jack Black, Cameron Diaz. Traveling, part of it takes place in England, part of it takes place in LA, and there's also a little device with movie trailers. So it's very self-referential, very romantic, and really charming. You got time, it's the holidays, what are you doing? Eating fruitcake and watching movies. Happy holidays.